Good evening. So in one of my videos I discussed that people don't want to change because even if the change may be understood as good on an intellectual basis, they still tend to neglect the emotional. But one idea that's quite essential when it comes to change is the idea of jouissance. Yeah, this one idea from Lacan. Now, even if I want to primarily discuss in this video why jouissance happens, so for a quick review, so you understand what we are talking about. Jouissance is a concept that Lacan developed that tends to explain one fundamental function of desire. And that is, desire doesn't want to ultimately complete itself. Because once a desire completes itself, it loses the thing that makes it so desirable. Now, the reason why we don't want to achieve our desires fully is because the psyche wants to maintain its fantasy. And the reason why psyche wants to maintain its fantasy is so it can also maintain its desire. Now, why do people desire things? The reason is that desire makes us happy. If we know we are going towards something, if you see this improvement, that we are pursuing something meaningful, it essentially satisfies us. And for most of us, it's really important to have something meaningful in our life. It's what makes everything pretty much matter. If, let's say, you would achieve some kind of meaning or some kind of goal you're pursuing, well, great, but the question is then, what are you going to be still happy? What are you still going to do with your life? And this is the main core concept of jouissance, is that desire tries to maintain itself. Now, what this has to do with change is that if we change ourselves, we lose this desire, we lose essentially this meaning that we tend to pursue. So even if you want the greatest change, you will lose something very important that our mind tends to care about. This is where it tends to get really interesting, because now I'm going to talk about visualization, or the law of attraction. Now, when you're talking about psychoanalysis, it isn't usually a concept that you would connect to it. But there's some really fascinating interconnection between those New Age spiritual practice and traditional psychoanalysis. Now, when you tend to visualize, you want yourself to bring into a position where you think that you already achieved what you're striving for. Which means, because you believe in it, the desire that you tend to block from yourself from fully completing it tends to resolve itself when you tend to visualize the thing. Now, what has this visualization or all this theory that you see in the New Age groups has to do with psychology? And that is, you need to understand that in order to desire something, we need to lack something in the first place. If you want to eat, for example, it's because if you're hungry. If you kind of lack within your stomach. If you want to buy something, you first of all have to need it. And in order to need, you need to inherently believe that there's something lacking within you. Now, lack isn't necessarily something bad. In fact, if you wouldn't lack something, you wouldn't have things that we tend to desire. And if you wouldn't desire something, our life would be pretty much directionless. If you don't have any goals, what do you want to do with your life? And so it's kind of dissatisfying. So even if our desire is kind of this misery and this pain that we don't tend to achieve something, it's also at the same time our very happiness. So what you can get from this idea is that when you tend to desire something on a conscious level, on a subconscious level there will be always some repression. Because on a conscious level where you experience lack, on a conscious level you will experience desire. And there are two things you could do in order to improve your situation. First of all, you could either use visualization in order to minimize the lack on a subconscious level that's happening on your mind, but you could also set bigger goals. Because the bigger your goals are, the further away you will be from jouissance. And this is the main message of this video. This is how you could fix the issue of jouissance for achieving your goals and making change easier to happen for you. Thanks for watching.